Hello and welcome back. My name is Jack B. And as always, thank you for viewing my video. Cooperation and agreement among the people of the United States have not always been easy. There have always been discussions, debates, concessions, and finally agreement for the good of all involved, not for just one person or group. This has been true from the time our nation was established right up until today. Just to get agreement on the U.S. Constitution must have been an arduous journey. But everyone came together. The Constitution may have been drafted by a few, but it was finalized by many people who were originally from different countries with diverse family, cultural, and religious backgrounds. Family and religion have always shaped our society. Many people came to the new colonies for various reasons during the 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries. I would suggest that most of the initial primary settlers of the colonies that were to become the United States came from the British Isles, Western, Central, and Eastern Europe, Africa, and Scandinavia. They brought their own family values, religion, and culture. Some were escaping persecution, some were looking for profit, and others were acting as agents for their home countries. The Protestant Reformation is considered to have started in 1517 when Martin Luther posted his 95-page theses on the door of the Castle Church in Wittenberg, Germany. Luther was looking to start a dialogue to address the issues outlined in his thesis, not to start a new religion. But the Pope excommunicated him, starting a wave of change. The next major dispute and separation from Rome was when King Henry VIII wanted an annulment from his current wife because she did not bear him a male child. The Pope refused for a couple of reasons. First, there was political pressure on the Pope not to allow the annulment, and second, the king owed Rome a lot of money. Everything in life moves around politics, money, and economics. King Henry VIII appointed the Archbishop of Canterbury as the head of his church. There were people in England that supported the move. There were also people who felt that the move did not go far enough to purge the church of all Catholic elements. These people were the Puritans. They started to voice their opinions in 1534 at the start of the Church of England. John Calvin started Calvinism in Geneva, Switzerland in 1536. The Puritans adopted the Calvinistic doctrine, especially the belief in predestiny and that man was deemed saved by God before birth. No matter what that individual did during their lifetime, they were going to heaven. They didn't have to attend church services or receive the sacraments. They could be murderers or rapists. It didn't matter. As time passed, more dissenters separated from Rome. The Presbyterian religion was established in Scotland in 1560. The Baptist religion was established in Amsterdam in 1609. The first Baptist church was founded in England in 1612. As it was in those times, those with power persecuted those that opposed them. So the persecuted fled for their lives. In 1632, Maryland was founded as a proprietary colony with the intention of being a haven for English Catholics. Although over the years Protestant dissenters would wage violence to oust Catholics, it ultimately became a haven for all religions. The Great Puritan Migration to America occurred from 1630 through 1643. There were approximately 20,000 Puritans that settled in the colonies during that period of time. They established the Massachusetts Bay Colony in 1630 with the explicit goal of creating a community purely wedded to the precepts of Calvinism. Their goal was to build a city upon a hill, a model Christian community for the world to see. Ironically, the Puritans then punished, banished, and killed dissenters such as the Baptists, Quakers, Presbyterians, Lutherans, and Catholics. They would use such means as whippings, ear cropping, imprisonment, and execution. In 1659 and 1661, Quakers were hung for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. The Puritans believed it was the government's duty to enforce religious uniformity for the good of society, a view that is the opposite of the separation of church and state. This appears to be an early form of Christian nationalism. One element of being a Protestant was they were supposed to be more tolerant than Catholics. In 1681, William Penn was granted a charter for Pennsylvania, which he established as a sanctuary for persecuted Quakers and others seeking religious freedom. Over the years, Puritans evolved and blended into various Protestant denominations such as Congregationalists and Presbyterians. Some drifted away from Calvinistic views and formed into groups such as American Unitarian Association. Some Puritans eventually incorporated the doctrines of the Church of England in their churches, though this was not a universal outcome. Churches or congregations that adhere to Calvinism include the Presbyterian, Christ Church, Continental Reformed, and Congregational churches. There are some Baptist and Anglican groups that still adhere to Calvinist beliefs. The reason I mention all the religions and dates is because they all had extremely strong beliefs that they defended to the point of shunning, ostracizing, persecuting, and killing those not of their own. Plus, they were from various countries which had different societies and cultures in addition to family values who settled throughout the colonies. All in all, the people were a mixed group of people with very strong points of view. There were many events that led up to the Declaration of Independence on July 4, 1776, such as the Stamp Act of 1765, the Boston Massacre of 1770, the Boston Tea Party on December 16, 1773, the Intolerable Acts of 1774. The New Jersey Tea Party, known as the Greenwich Tea Burning, took place on December 22, 1774, in Greenwich, Cumberland County, New Jersey, and the battles of Lexington and Concord in 1775, just to name a few. The decision to separate from the rule of Britain was based on many factors. Not all colonists agreed with separating from Britain. Roughly 40 to 45% of the population were patriots and actively supported the cause for independence. Support was strongest in the New England colonies. A large segment of the population, about 35 to 40%, was undecided. Approximately 15 to 20% of the population were loyalists, Tories, and remained loyal to the British Crown. All the founders of our country believed in God or a supreme being, though their specific views and details varied widely and were influenced by both Christianity and the Enlightenment. There was not a single unified religious group, but rather a broad spectrum of beliefs. Their beliefs generally fell into four broad categories. Number one, Orthodox Christians. Patrick Henry, John Hancock, and Samuel Adams were devout Orthodox Christians. Number two, Deism. Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, and Thomas Paine embraced deism. Number three, Christian rationalists in the middle. The largest group, which included influential figures like George Washington, John Adams, and James Madison, fell somewhere in the middle. They were raised in Christian denominations, mostly Anglican, Episcopalian, Presbyterian, or Congregationalist, and retained Christian loyalties and practices, but were also heavily influenced by Enlightenment rationalism. Number four, Roman Catholic. A smaller number were Roman Catholic, including Charles Carroll and Daniel Carroll of Maryland. The religious beliefs of the Founding Fathers were diverse and not monolithic. While many were Christian, a significant number, such as Franklin and Jefferson, were deists or held other rationalist views that differed from traditional Christianity. The founders' diverse views led them to intentionally create a secular government that would not establish a state religion, ensuring freedom of conscience for people of all faiths and even non-believers. The U.S. Constitution, for example, makes no mention of God and explicitly prohibits a religious test for holding office. Even with all the diversity of the time, discussions, debates, concessions, and agreements came in timely manners. Thomas Jefferson wrote the initial draft of the Declaration of Independence in about 17 days, from June 11 to June 28, 1776, with the Committee of Five, which included John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Roger Sherman, and Robert Livingston, advising him. The attendees at the Second Continental Congress debated and made changes to the draft on July 2nd and 3rd. They ultimately signed the document on July 4, 1776. There is a total of 56 signatures on the Declaration of Independence. 50 people signed between July 2 and August 2, 1776. The remaining 6 signings occurred at various times after August 2, 1776. The Patriots' success in winning our War of Independence from Britain was heavily dependent on the military and financial assistance of foreign powers, such as France. This is an example of how one country can assist another country in their time of need. The same can be true today. The Treaty of Paris, signed on September 3, 1783, officially ended the Revolutionary War. It took 4 months to draft the U.S. Constitution from May 25 to September 17, 1787, during the Constitutional Congress. The final draft was signed by 39 delegates. After the convention, the Constitution was sent to the states for ratification. The process took over a year to get the Constitution signed. The U.S. Constitution was ratified on June 21, 1788. Ratification required 9 of the 13 states to sign, and ultimately all states signed. To sum things up, many different people from different parts of the world with diverse cultures, religions, and family values came together to create America as it is today. Ultimately, all Americans came to a consensus to create America, and we continue to clarify and improve what we declare as our way of life. We are permitted to be different and disagree, but we are required to come to a consensus. This is true more today than in decades in the past. We can't let our American way of life be subverted or subsumed solely by someone else's idea that won't help the many. Well, these are my thoughts for today. And again, whether you agree or disagree, please verify the information presented. Thank you, and until next time, take care and be safe. Ooh.